Have you ever set a goal and still felt completely empty after achieving it? You crossed the finish line, you reached the milestone, you posted the victory photo, and yet, something inside you whispered, "Is this it?" Let me ask again, have you ever climbed the ladder only to realize it was leaning against the wrong wall? Maybe you set a goal to lose 10 pounds, and you did, but instead of joy, there was just silence. Or you hit that income target. You moved into the new house, you got the degree, the title, the trophy, and something inside you went quiet. That moment, right there, that silence after success is the doorway to today's message. Because what if I told you, the real reason we chase goals is not because we need them, but because we forgot who we are without them. Today, we're not talking about motivation. We're not talking about hustle. We're talking about something deeper, more human, more honest. This is for the dreamers who are tired of feeling like failures every time they miss a checkbox. This is for the achievers who did everything right and still feel unfulfilled. And this is for the quiet ones who look around at all the noise about goals, 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 and wonder, is this really how it's supposed to be? Jim Rohn once said, "The ultimate reason for setting goals is to become the person it takes to achieve them." Now pause, breathe, let that quote echo for a moment. Because this quote isn't just about ambition, it's about identity. It's about how we build ourselves, not around the trophies we collect, but around the character we cultivate. Let me tell you a story, one I think you'll recognize. Every January, millions of people write down their goals, New Year's resolutions, a fresh list, a new hope. And by February, most of them are gone, forgotten, dusty. Why? Not because people are lazy, not because they don't want it, but because the system is broken. Because most people are chasing outcomes, instead of becoming people who naturally attract those outcomes. They say, "I want to be rich," but never ask, "Am I becoming someone worthy of wealth?" They say, "I want to be healthy," but skip the question, "Am I building a relationship with my body, or just attacking it with punishment?" They say, "I want to be loved," but never ask, "Am I becoming someone who knows how to give love freely?" This is the secret no one told us. And Jim Rohn whispered it before most of us were born. Success is something you attract by the person you become. So today's talk is not about how to set better goals. It's about how to stop outsourcing your worth to goals altogether. This is not a checklist. This is a compass. A shift from "what should I do" to "who must I become?" We will challenge the way you've thought about success. We will break open the myths that achievement is always the answer. We will slow down so you can finally hear what your soul has been trying to say, beneath all the noise. Because if you're tired of the endless cycle of striving and still not arriving, then maybe what you need isn't another goal. Maybe what you need is a new way of growing. So if you're ready, let's begin. Not with another bullet list, but with a new lens, a deeper truth, a softer path. Because today, we stop setting goals and start becoming. Let's be honest for a moment. We live in a world obsessed with goals. We are told to set them, visualize them, crush them, share them on social media. Every new year, the calendars get filled with promises. Lose weight, make money, find love, be better. But let me ask you, if goals are the answer, why do so many of us still feel stuck? Why do we have more planners, but less peace? More ambitions, but fewer fulfilled souls? Here's the truth. No one told you this in school. but it matters more than any strategy book you'll ever read. Goals can be a trap, a mental trap, an emotional trap, a spiritual trap. Let's break it down. 1. The trap of anxiety. The moment you set a goal, you introduce a gap between who you are and who you think you should be. And that gap, if misunderstood, becomes a place of anxiety. I'm not there yet. I should be further along. Look at her, she's already done it. Suddenly, the goal isn't pulling you forward, it's pushing you down. You start measuring your worth by your distance from the finish line, point type 5, and every step not taken becomes evidence you are not enough. 2. The trap of outcome addiction. We live in a dopamine economy. We're addicted to arrival, to the next hit, to the moment we can check a box and say done. But the moment we get there, we feel nothing, or worse, emptiness. Because no one teaches us how to celebrate the process, how to fall in love with the invisible progress that happens inside us. We're not trained to grow, we're trained to score, to chase outcomes and neglect who we're becoming in the chase. 3. The trap of identity collapse. What happens when your goal becomes your identity? I'm someone who's going to be a millionaire. I'm going to get fit this year. I'm going to build that company. But then life happens. You fail, you stumble, you get rejected, and suddenly, it's not the goal that failed, it's you. Or so your mind tells you, and the spiral begins. Because you never separated your goals from your identity. When you collapse the two, every setback feels like a personal attack. You don't just lose progress, you lose confidence, you lose belief, you lose yourself. 4. The trap of goal fatigue. There is a hidden exhaustion that comes from setting goal after goal after goal, and never pausing to ask, why am I doing this? We stack them like bricks, build towers of dreams, but the foundation, empty. We are running, chasing, checking off lists, and forgetting to live. Here's a quote to sit with. Don't confuse movement with meaning, because not all progress is actual growth. Some of us are just excellent at being busy and deeply lost. So what does this all mean? Are goals bad? No. But goals without grounding in who you are can become dangerous. They are not the enemy, but they are not the answer either. The answer is in alignment between who you are today and who you are becoming. The answer is in rhythm, in systems, in showing up when no one's watching. That's what Jim Rohn understood so well. He didn't preach hustle, he preached harmony. Not grind harder, but grow deeper. So if you're tired, not just physically, but spiritually, emotionally, existentially, maybe it's time to question the way we set goals. Maybe it's time to stop measuring your life by boxes checked and tasks completed, and start asking, who am I becoming right now? Because that is the only metric that matters. And if you're willing to let go of goal chasing, we can begin to build something better. A life built on becoming, not proving, not performing, just becoming. Let's keep going. The next part is where we rebuild from the inside out. Let's step into the heart of it. If we're going to stop setting goals the way we've been taught, we need something stronger to replace them. Something deeper, more sustainable, more aligned with who we want to become. And for that, we turn to Jim Rohn. Not just a speaker, but a thinker, a quiet revolutionary who challenged the world to grow from the inside out. Jim didn't teach tactics, he taught transformation. He didn't scream motivation, he whispered discipline. And one of the most powerful truths he ever shared was this: success is something you attract by the person you become. Let that sink in. He didn't say success is something you chase. He didn't say success is what you do. He said it is attracted like a magnet. And what attracts it? What a truth. Not your goals, but your growth, the person you become. So let's walk through what that means. Jim Rohn's foundational teaching is built on what he calls the 5 major pieces to the life puzzle: philosophy, attitude, action, results. Lifestyle. Let's explore each one and how it transforms your idea of goals into something much more powerful. 1. Philosophy, the root of all change. Jim said, "Don't ask for a better life. Ask to become a better thinker." Philosophy means your view of life, your beliefs, the lens through which you see everything. If you believe success is luck, you will wait. If you believe success is unfair, you will resent. But if you believe that growth leads to greatness, you will start today. So ask yourself, what is my personal philosophy about life? Do I believe I'm a victim or a student? Do I see setbacks as signs to quit or as chapters in the story of mastery? Because if your philosophy is broken, no goal can save you. But if your philosophy is strong, you don't even need a goal. You're already on the path. 2. Attitude, the energy behind everything. Jim taught, it's not the wind that determines your destination, it's the set of your sails. That quote changed my life. Because the wind is everything you cannot control: the economy, other people, the weather. But the sail, that's you, your attitude, your posture, the energy you bring to every single situation. Most people set goals to fix their outer life, but never address the inner wind. They hustle, they burn out, they keep resetting because their attitude is always not enough. But when your attitude shifts from pressure to possibility, from control to curiosity, suddenly you move differently, you carry peace, you become magnetic. This isn't about toxic positivity, it's about intentional perspective. As Jim said, don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. 3. Action, the bridge between thought and result. Now we arrive at the doing, but not just do more. Emphasis level STRO, do consistently, do wisely, do with alignment. Jim said, success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Let me say that again. Let me several moderate, simple disciplines practiced every day. You don't need a new plan. You need a rhythm. Brushing your teeth isn't exciting, but do it daily, and you keep your smile. The same goes for your mind, your energy, your character. The world rewards action, but life rewards consistency. If your goals don't become habits, they die. So shift your mindset from goals to systems, from outcomes to processes, from obsession to rhythm. 4. Results, the mirror of your patterns. Jim said, results are the name of the game. Not to shame you, but to show you. What are your results showing you? Where are you growing? Where are you stuck? You see, results don't lie. They whisper. And if you listen, they'll teach you. When you start living by values, not just vision, Your results reflect alignment. They become feedback, not failure. That's what makes Jim Rohn's method so elegant, so real. He doesn't sell fantasies, he builds feedback loops. 5. Lifestyle, the art of enjoying what you've built. This is where most goal setters fall apart. They arrive, they hit the number, they get the house, the income, the applause, but they don't know how to live. Jim said, "The ultimate reason for setting goals is to become the person it takes to achieve them. Not to check a box, but to become someone worthy of joy." A lifestyle is not what you earn, it's how you show up. With gratitude, with grace, with generosity. So build the person, not just the plan. Grow the roots, not just the reach. Create a life, not just a ladder, because the person who becomes is never dependent on a finish line. They are free, they are steady, they are enough, even before the goal is won. So here's the invitation. Stop chasing, start becoming. Let Jim's words echo in your daily rhythm. Let discipline become a friend. Let philosophy become your compass. And when people ask you, what's your goal right now? You can say, to become the kind of person who no longer needs goals to grow. That is real success. Let's move to action, because knowledge is potential, but action is power. We're often told that big change requires big action, but sometimes it begins with a pen. One sentence, one quiet moment, one quote that meets you where you are and stays with you longer than any motivation video ever could. Here's what I want you to try. Starting today, write down just one quote from Jim Rohn. Not in your phone, not on a note-taking app, but in a notebook with your own hand. And every morning, before the world grabs your attention, before your phone buzzes, before emails, deadlines, and distractions, I want you to look at that sentence. Not to read it, but to let it read you. Let it shape the energy you begin your day with. Let it tune your inner frequency. Let it become part of your identity. Why? Because repetition creates reflection, and reflection changes your direction. Let's go deeper. You see, most people treat quotes like fireworks. They light up your mind for a second, then disappear. But if you treat a quote like a seed and water it every morning with your attention, it grows into something powerful. Let me give you an example. Here's a sentence I've looked at every morning for years. A quote from Jim Rohn. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Now, at first, that sounds like something you could scroll past, but when you read it again and again and again, it becomes a mirror. Every day you ask, where is my bridge today? Am I walking it, or am I still standing at the edge, just dreaming of the other side? Because goals don't build bridges, discipline does. And the more you look at that truth, the more you start changing. Not from pressure, but from presence. You start putting your phone down more often. You start keeping small promises to yourself. You start creating rhythm instead of chasing results. And it all starts with one quote, written by your hand, read with your heart. You might ask, but what quote should I write? But what quote should I write? That's your journey to choose. But I'll give you a few favorites to explore. Choose the one that speaks to where you are or who you want to become. Here's another one. Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better now. That one hits. That one hive. Because it invites ownership, responsibility, a shift from complaint to capability. If you read that every morning, you stop blaming the world, you stop waiting for ideal conditions, you begin asking, what can I improve right now? That question alone can transform your whole year. Here's another quote to consider. You cannot change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction overnight. Why does this matter? Because we live in an instant results culture. We expect transformation in days, in weeks. But growth doesn't obey urgency. It honors alignment. This quote reminds you that one decision today can shift your future trajectory forever. So, don't underestimate the power of one sentence. Written, seen, absorbed, repeated, lived. This practice may sound simple, it is, but don't confuse simple with small. Small actions, repeated with intention, create the architecture of a new identity. So here's your invitation. Tonight, before you sleep, take a notebook. Write down one Jim Rohn quote that resonates with you. Tomorrow morning, before the world rushes in, open that notebook, read it slowly, out loud if you can. Let it guide your thoughts. Let it anchor your intentions. Let it shape your choices. And do it again the next day and the next. Not because it's magic, but because it's momentum. You're not setting a goal, you're setting a tone. And that tone carries into everything you touch. Your habits, your relationships, your work, your energy. You'll start noticing patterns. You'll begin to pause before reacting. You'll lead with more wisdom and less worry. All because you chose to begin your day with intention. So write the quote, own the moment, return to it often. Because some sentences don't just inspire you, they remake you. Let's keep growing. Let's move forward. The next practice will build upon this one. But for now, ask yourself, what truth do I want to live by every morning? Then pick up the pen and begin. Let's talk about alignment, not just goals, not just habits, but the quiet bridge between what you believe and what you do. You see, most people say they believe in growth, in discipline, in kindness, in simplicity. But their days are filled with noise, with hurry, with distraction. There's a gap between their philosophy and their reality. And that gap is what we're going to close, one small action at a time. Here's the practice. Every day, do one small thing that aligns with the life you say you want to live. Let me give you a few examples. If you say you value learning, read one page, not 10, not a chapter, just one page. If you say you value mindfulness, sit still for 5 minutes. No phone, no agenda, just breathe. If you say you value family, send a message to someone you love. Tell them something simple, something real. That's it. Nothing grand, nothing viral, just one action, rooted in alignment. Because here's the truth. Big changes begin with small congruence. We don't grow by accident, we grow by choosing. What matters over and over again. Let's go deeper. Jim Rohn once said, "Success is neither magical nor mysterious. Success is the natural consequence of consistently applying basic fundamentals." So ask yourself, what are your fundamentals? What do you claim to believe in that your calendar doesn't reflect? Because the fastest way to build self-respect is to act in harmony with your inner truth. When you say you value health and you stretch for 5 minutes, you're not just moving your body, you're healing your self-trust. When you say you want clarity and you journal a single paragraph, you're not just writing words, you're giving your mind space to breathe. When you say you want peace and you turn off your phone for 10 minutes, you're not losing connection, you're reclaiming it. This isn't about volume, it's about alignment. Because every small action taken in the direction of your values becomes a seed of identity. And identity is what makes transformation inevitable. Let me give you a metaphor. Think of your beliefs like roots, invisible, buried deep, but your daily actions, they are the fruit. What people see, what the world tastes, what your life becomes. If the roots say simplicity, but the fruit is chaos, there's disconnection. If the roots say wisdom, but the fruit is noise, there's contradiction. The goal here is to bring them back into harmony. So here's a suggestion. Tonight before bed, ask yourself, what do I truly believe in? Break time. Is it growth, stillness, compassion, freedom? And tomorrow, choose one small action that reflects that belief. If you believe in creativity, sketch, hum a song, write a sentence. If you believe in order, clean one drawer, one shelf, one corner of your world. If you believe in presence, pause. Put your phone on airplane mode, Feel the sunlight, listen to someone without waiting to respond. These moments don't go viral, but they go deep. And when practiced daily, they build momentum that goals can't match. Because goals are about achievement. But this is about becoming. You don't need to do everything today, just one thing. One small, quiet act of alignment that says, I know what I believe, and I'm living it. Jim Rohn didn't teach us to chase success. He taught us to attract it by showing up as someone who lives with intention. So let this be your compass, not a checklist, but a calibration. Not how much did I do today, but did I live one truth today? That's enough. That's powerful. That's how you grow. Let's keep moving. The next practice will take this one even further. But for now, breathe, reflect, act. What do you believe in? And what will you do to prove it to yourself today? Let me ask you something simple, but life-changing. What does success mean? To you? Not to your parents, not to your school, not to your culture, not to Instagram, to you, right now, as the person you are in this moment. You see, we're all walking around with borrowed definitions. Success means a 6-figure income. Success means marriage and 2 kids by 30. Success means being busy, being admired, being productive. But who wrote that script? And more importantly, why are you still following it if it doesn't fit who you've become? Jim Rohn once said, if you don't design your own life plan, chances are you'll fall into someone else's plan. And guess what they have planned for you? Not much. So today, we pause. We step off the treadmill of other people's expectations. We breathe, we listen inward, and we write a new definition. Your own, personal, quiet, true. Let me walk you through how. Step 1, name the lies. Start by naming what success is not for you. Maybe success is not having a full calendar. Maybe it's not followers, not hustle, not fame. Write it down, let it go. Because unless you clear the noise, you can't hear the truth. Step 2, recall the moments you felt most alive. Forget accomplishments, forget awards. Think of a moment where your chest felt open, where time disappeared, where you smiled without effort. That was a clue. Maybe it was walking barefoot on a quiet beach. Maybe it was helping someone in pain. Maybe it was solving a problem with creativity. These moments hold more truth than any motivational poster. Step 3. Choose your words. Now finish this sentence. Success to me means, and don't edit it. Don't try to sound smart. Speak from your soul, from your wounds, from your longing. Let me share mine. To me, success means waking up with peace in my chest, doing work that heals instead of depletes, loving people slowly, and becoming someone my younger self would be proud of. That's it. No private jet, no 8-figure business, no standing ovation, just alignment, freedom, joy. Now your turn. Write it in your notebook, type it, whisper it to yourself, but say it, claim it, own it. Because when you write your own definition of success, you stop competing, you stop comparing, you return home. Let me give you some prompts to help. Finish these phrases and see what emerges. Success to me means waking up and feeling. A successful day includes, I know I'm on the right path when, if I lost everything external, I'd still feel successful because this is not about getting it right. It's about getting it real. Because the more personal your definition becomes, the more powerful it becomes. Jim Rohn taught us, success is not to be pursued. It is to be attracted by the person you become. And here's the secret. You can't attract success that's not yours. You can't receive what your soul doesn't recognize. So redefine, reclaim, remember, not what sounds good, but what feels right. Let me tell you what happens when you do. Suddenly, the pressure to impress fades, the rush to catch up disappears. You stop sprinting and you start becoming. Your days become sacred, not because they're productive, but because they're yours. Your actions carry integrity because they match your inner truth. This is what real power feels like. Quiet, rooted, peaceful. So today, write your definition. Even if it's messy, even if it's just one sentence, even if you're not sure yet, just start. And read it again. Tomorrow, and the next day, and the next. Because what you define, you begin to live. Let's close this with a truth I want you to remember. Emphasis level strong. When success is redefined, life becomes yours again. So take the pen, take the silence, take the freedom, and write a definition that your soul can grow inside. You're not behind, you're not broken, you're just beginning again. That, my friend, is real success. So here we are. You've listened, you've reflected, you've slowed down enough to hear the sound of your own thoughts again. And maybe, for the first time in a long time, you're beginning to remember you were never supposed to live by someone else's checklist. Jim Rohn never promised quick results. He never sold shortcuts. He offered something rarer, something stronger. He offered philosophy, discipline, and the courage to grow from the inside out. This isn't about tearing up your goals. This is about replacing shallow targets with deep alignment. It's not give up ambition. It's upgrade your definition of achievement. You've learned the traps, the toxic side of goal setting, how it can turn from vision into pressure, into identity, into exhaustion. And you've learned what Jim taught instead, that success isn't something you chase, it's something you attract by the person you become. So the question now is simple. Not what do I want to accomplish this year, but emphasis level moderate, who do I want to become this year? Because that question changes everything. Let's bring this home. Let's make it real. Not just ideas, but shifts, choices, practices. You've already been introduced to three small, powerful steps that most people overlook, but Jim never did. Step 1, write a quote that grounds you, not just to remember, but to reshape, to realign, to return every morning to a voice of wisdom. Step 2, do one small act of congruence each day, a quiet behavior that matches your philosophy, that says, I am who I claim to be, even when no one's watching. Step 3, redefine success. In your own handwriting, in your own language, without filters, without permission, because when success becomes personal, it becomes possible. And when success becomes rooted in your identity, you no longer need to chase it. You become it. So here's your call to action. No, your call to interaction. Forget the rush. Forget the comparison. Forget the illusion of timelines. And remember this, emphasize strong, you already hold everything you need to grow into the person you're meant to be. The question is, will you honor that truth today? Will you trade the addiction to more for the clarity of meaning? Will you move from planning to presence? Will you stop proving and start becoming? Because that's what Jim Rohn gave us, not motivation, but mirrors. Not hype, but harmony. He reminded us that the journey to success is not outward, it's inward. And it begins right here, right now. So as you walk away from this message, don't rush to the next one. Pause. Close your eyes and ask yourself, what kind of person am I becoming? And do my days reflect that direction? Because success, lasting success, isn't in the future. It's hidden, in the next choice you make. The choice to read a line that heals, the choice to act on what you believe, the choice to define success on your terms. And above all, the choice to stop chasing outcomes and start building yourself. That's the real secret Jim taught us. That's the invisible foundation behind every visible success. And now you carry it forward. Grow well, grow quietly, grow consistently, and let your life be the proof that success was never about reaching more. It was about becoming more.